Basha Uhuru, which is a youth music and art festival, is back once again at the Constitution Hill in Johannesburg. The festival, which started earlier in the week, not only showcases art, design, film, poetry and music, it also provides inspirational workshops and entrepreneurial support programs for young creatives. The festival wraps up today with its music edition. Now, the event will feature a stellar lineup of musicians from around the country, and joining us now to tell us more about the festival is Khaisang Sateghe, the exhibitions and events coordinator at Basha. Very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this festival is now in its 9th edition. Take us through how you have seen it grow over the last few years.
So we're actually in our 7th year now. It's the 7th annual Basha Uhuru. And when we started in 2013, it was really on a smaller scale, where, you know, the festival attracted about 1,400 young people, and today we're seeing over 10,000 young people flocking to the festival. And I think we've grown exponentially, and not only in numbers but in quality, in terms of the kinds of programs that we have included over the years to be part of the festival program, for it not to just be a music festival, a turn up where young people just come and revel in the music, but also come and get something valuable and meaningful out of the various workshops and programs that are part of the festival.
Yeah, and speaking of workshops, I understand there have been some workshops in the past week. Do you want to take us through those workshops?
Yes, we've had it's called the Basha Bacha, meaning Youth on Fire.
Okay.
Basha Bacha Creative Uprising Summit, which is actually a creative conference that affords young people to come and just share their creative business ideas and present them and pitch their ideas to a panel of industry professionals. So this started on the 27th with a pitching boot camp, where the various participants was sort of taken through the process of pitching. And then on yesterday, actually, the entire day, these young small businesses were actually pitching to a panel, and we've had 3 lovely winners whose business ideas, I suppose, impressed the panel. And we also had creative workshops. And this conference was sponsored by the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller. And we also had various creative and art workshops taking place throughout the day, sponsored by Nando's.
Now, do you get the sense that people understand the true meaning of what the Basha Uhuru Festival is all about, other than the turning up element of it?
Yes, certainly, and we've seen it in the number of young people who had registered for these workshops, you know, the pitching workshops, the art workshops, the various art making workshops, the film screenings, the poetry readings, a poetry festival as well, the exhibitions, you know, so a lot of young people have showed up to all these other elements of the festival. So I think that we are really doing a great job in terms of contributing in a meaningful way to developing and nurturing creative talent.
And speaking of which, this festival will give artistic expression to young creatives. And how do you use this festival to highlight certain issues affecting particularly young people?
I think through some of our dialogues and discussions and talks, we invite relevant sort of industry professionals to come and address some of these issues with young people. So, for instance, we've had a program called Meet the Speakers, where we've had speakers like Mabatu Muntu, Lady Scully, who are part of the panel, and they talk about certain issues that affect young people today. So in as much as the festival is a commemoration of the youth of 1976, we are also looking at current challenges and topical issues that are affecting our youth today. So I think through those dialogues and talks, we do get to address those issues.
I mean, this platform is all about conversations. It's all about giving a voice to people. So what are some of the issues that drive such conversations? What are those conversations that need to come out of this festival?
Well, because it's an arts festival and it's focused mainly on the creative industry, and there are a lot of challenges among emerging artists, you know, there's a lot of challenge in terms of accessing the industry. So issues around industry, market access and industry exposure and opportunities for new talent, emerging talent in the industry, and how to penetrate the market. It's, you know, some of those issues are some of the challenges that are facing young creatives, because it's really hard to break into the creative industry, and most of the time it's all about who you know, and it's all about, you know, being put on, you know. So it's really hard because and unfortunate that that's how the creative industry operates. So, and also issues around copyright, you know, in terms of the using some of the works that artists produce and create without getting you know, their permissions and their rights. They also face certain issues like that. So I think it's really issues that affect creatives within the industry, some of the challenges that we still face in South Africa, because the arts are still very much not as recognized as they are internationally, like in the US and in Europe. We still see it as a pastime or as a hobby, whereas it's actually a lucrative career that one can pursue. So those are some of the challenges facing creatives.
It is actually a very lucrative career, as you just mentioned. And you also talked of market access or penetration into the industry.
Yes.
How do young creatives go about doing that? How do they penetrate this industry?
So, I mean, sure, that's a very difficult kind of question to answer, because also with the festival, Basha Uhuru, we've seen so many applications. You know, we're receiving a lot of emails, also on our social media platforms, artists just sending us their profiles, and you can see that there's a hunger and a gap, a huge gap, especially between new talent and established artists. So we've been receiving a lot of applications, artists wanting to perform, artists wanting to exhibit, artists wanting to be a part of the festival, and unfortunately, I think that's one of the very few ways that artists can be recognized, through festivals like Basha Uhuru that focuses on creating a platform for new artists. And unfortunately, we can't accommodate everyone, but I think through such platforms, that's how artists can access the market.
Just a quick one, tickets, where do we get hold of them?
So tickets for today's music festival will cost only 75 Rand online and 100 Rand at the door, and they're available on web tickets or via the Basha Uhuru website.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
That is Haisang Sateghe talking to us about the Basha Uhuru Festival, which is set to take place later today at the Johannesburg's Constitution Hill. Let's take a